Computer. Lights.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Watercolor Wednesday. Pepper's with me today, but Pepper's got a deadline, so Pepper is going to be peppering in his own way and not participating in Watercolor Wednesday, which makes both Pepper and me sad. But
Yes.
that's okay.
I am
Sometimes that
sad.
happens. It's the
Yes.
nature of the beast. So, before we start, though, Pepper, behold, it is a script. And
Bellatrix Rising 1.
it is a Bellatrix Rising script, and I'm breaking it down. Look at that. For pages. Right? You're like all surprised. There's a real script here. There's going to be a real comic.
I'm
with real pages.
surprised that you're breaking it down for pages. I thought you would have done that while you were writing.
I tend to like to write in flow format. I just keep writing until the scene clears. If I get too bogged down by structure and design, I get really like I think too much about this panel or that panel and not enough about these two characters talking to each other. And so I have to write the thing in flow and then go back and break the panels. So the problem that I've got, of course, is it's an 8-page script. I'm on page 3 and I'm on page 10 of the comic.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So this is going to be, for an 8-page text, it's going to be a big book, a big comic.
Well, I mean, when Bill writes, the script that I'm kind of working off of right now for our comic, which is, by the way, folks, that is what I'm working on now.
He's a comic.
Is a comic.
And we can't release it, so you can't show anybody.
Right. So basically, Bill writes in cinematic format, which is what you just described.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the easiest way for me to be able to find the voice of the characters. If I don't write like that, then I just end up like really sad is what I end up with.
Well, let's just put it this way. My husband knows I dislike it.
Yep.
So,
well, my methodology for it is I write the script, then I break it. And so I go in here and I put in the pages as I want to see them on the left side, and then that forms the sort of the situation around it. So, and I mean, sometimes I come in here, I have 3 whole paragraphs that's all 1 page because it's a splash effectively.
yeah.
So, well, that's going to be fun. So I ate up an entire page on a splash. But that's okay. It's an important splash.
Well, it's. I thought we were about to have a messages from Bill, but apparently he backed away.
Oh. But I like Bill.
I know you like Bill. I know a lot of people like Bill.
Yeah, we all like Bill.
If I had something to say, I would say it.
Yep.
Liar.
So it's 4 scenes, but the scenes are huge. So there's that. So, okay, I'm going to switch over to watercolor mode because we were working on this piece. And I'm going to go
Watercolor mode on.
And I'm gonna have to. For some reason, and I haven't figured this one out, YouTube doesn't actually. When you type in GS Davis art, it brings up my Foxtail Media page. It does not actually bring up my GS Davis art page, which is remarkably irritating.
Well, that's weird because I actually got it. I'm subscribed to you on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, and if I was logged in, I would be subscribed to myself as well. Yeah, I think. But I'm going to bring up the show on here so that I can read what's said because, of course, I'm not going to wear glasses while we're doing this. Man, this
I'm
takes a lot
shading
of button
fingers.
There we go. Work. Right. I have to unpack everything for, George protection is generally what has to happen here. Tech from George.
What's George got to do with it?
This is like a Tina Turner song. What's George got to do with it? If he didn't just try to eat my brushes, we'd be fine. But that's his thing. He really loves eating brushes.
He's a cat.
I know. I need water in my water puck, and we'll be ready to get started. In fact, said animal just showed up because I started pouring water. He's like, "Oh, water? Did you say water? I happen to like water too." Okay. All right. Let's set this tape back on this side. Alrighty. And put borders on my painting because he wants to walk on my painting. So I actually have this plastic lid that I place on top of my artwork like this. So that he's like, I don't know, I can't sit on the plastic box.
Until he learns to be comfortable with the plastic box.
Right? All righty. Use some of my George Mauled paper towels here. Speaking of the devil himself, you say George. He's doing George stuff. Like knocking over things and making messes. And
What is he, 2 now?
he's in his second year. His birthday is May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, no. Well, I know when he's born. I wasn't asking that.
Yeah, so I don't know whether he's 2. I guess he'd be still 1.
I mean,
We sort of count the first year as 0, don't we?
well, for cats, year 1 is or freshly born kittens tend to not really have an age.
Right. So, do we consider that year 1, or do we consider him in year 2 or is he in year 1? Where is he? Doesn't even know.
Honestly, I would consider it year 1 for the first year.
And now
Just
year
like
2,
just like a Western Americanness.
right?
But yeah,
All right, we're gonna do space stuff today.
it sounds dirty.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with. This is where I really want
Space stuff. We're gonna do space stuff today. What does space stuff mean? I don't know, but we're doing it.
We're doing it. Stand back. We're gonna create art. Stand back. We're doing art. I'm using your blue. I'm gonna lay that down as the light space stuff. Let's see how that goes. There we go. I'm laying in some of this nice blue that Pepper made.
Yeah.
I have to kind of work a lot with the. So the blue comes out a lot lighter than I expected it to when it's on the paper, which is cool.
Okay.
I don't know, Pepper. I really like this blue. You know, I know you were like, it's a Franken blue. Maybe that's what we should call it, is Franken blue,
We could.
because it's like it's made from like a zillion different colors.
Not really a zillion. 3.
Yeah, but it's still a Franken blue.
It is. It is. I'm not gonna deny that.
I like it. It's a good Franken blue. There we go.
Actually, it's made me think about possibly getting Pink is Pink from Culture Hustle again. So
Did you save any of the Pink is Pink
from
that I
you?
gave you?
No.
No.
Well, I actually the stuff that because Norrin gave me some too, or Neil,
Yeah.
however you guys reference to him.
I don't remember which one either.
He gave me some too. But I didn't save any of the one that he gave me either. So it's one of those moments where I think I'm like, yeah, I think I just have to bite the bullet and buy some.
Yeah.
Because the color did turn out pretty good, so I actually do like it.
Yeah, it turned out a lot. It looks big and bright and scary, but it doesn't lay down that way. I mean, like you look at it and you're like, gosh, this is like a highlighter. But it doesn't actually end up being that way.
Oh no, you can get it to be a highlighter.
Yeah, you can. I'm sure that you can make it that way, but I'm just saying it's by default, it's not that way.
If you have like a lighter blue, by the way, and you take pinkus pink and you add it to that blue, it makes a very interesting purple.
There you go.
Now, mind you, it has to be a warm blue because if you try it with a cool blue, it doesn't come out the same way.
It will conflict.
So.
There we go. So I'm just laying down this here blue, which we all like. Put it down first. And while it's drying, I'll go work on Daedalus over there. I have like the weirdest love of the Daedalus class ships. And I know that. I know I'm weird.
So long as it doesn't get creepy with your love, you're good.
Yeah, right? It's fine as long as it's not creepy. That's what they say about my jokes, too.
Well, they're dad jokes, so...
Yeah, generally they are already creepy by default.
No, they're just cringe.
Fringing. Yep. Here we go. It is actually kind of good though to come in here and look at this on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching this on my iPad and YouTube so that I can read the comments if there are any. But it also lets me know that thing that it says right there on our screen where it says your comments will be right here. It doesn't post that out on YouTube. It's good to know.
That's if YouTube allows you to comment.
Yeah, YouTube lets me. I think. Well, I guess I'm not sure whether YouTube allows me to comment. Maybe I should test and see. I'm not logged in, so I can't. I might have to remember my password to log into YouTube on my iPad. I don't use my iPad a lot. I really don't. I mostly use it for exactly this job. You know, I need some kind of pseudo remote structure.
Mm. Well, I guess while we're talking about watercolors, I do need to get some concept drawings done, so I'm probably going to have to do those with watercolor.
So you might actually have a watercolor job to do?
Yeah, but I can only do that after I get this done.
Right? I follow. There's no pressure. Alrighty. I need to decide what color am I making this Daedalus.
Blue.
Blue. You know what? Actually, that might be exactly what I'm doing. All right. So I know my light source is coming from right over here. So Daedalus class ships always have like more round, everything is rounded. And so even out here on the nacelles, it's so round.
All of a sudden, like I'm just like picturing the other, the other ships talking smack.
Just so round.
It's just so round.
Mama's round.
Enterprise, look at that. It's just round.
Yeah. You consider going on a diet?
Looks like one of those warp stars' girlfriends.
Right.
Bill just started doing the spoof. I like round ships and I do not lie.
Right.
Although I could see that being sung in Klingon for some weird reason.
You've never enjoyed it until you've listened to it in its original Klingon.
Hmm. Disco's back in Japan. What?
Yeah. So yesterday the air conditioning guy showed up.
Oh, sweet. You guys get air conditioner?
No, we've got swamp coolers, but our swamp wasn't doing so good. We're trying to figure out why. And he was like, well, it's probably just the pads are all gummed up. And he's like, I don't know if you have any cottonwood. And I was like, oh. He's like, but that your swamp cooler will suck in that cottonwood. And I'm like, I think I already know what our problem is because we get so much cottonwood.
Well, I mean, I've been in your area. I can kind of see that being an issue.
Yeah.
It's sort of an issue in our area, too.
Do what?
It's sort of an issue in our area, too, because we have a shopping area that's literally like the Cottonwood Plaza, so it has like tons of cottonwood planted there.
Right.
And let's just say we are always having issues with our AC.
Yeah.
Especially when they convert it over from the heat to the cool. We always seem to have issues right away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. Just kind of using this flat brush. It's kind of cool. I've got this artist that I follow on Instagram. He uses a flat brush for everything. And it's astonishing.
Mm.
Wouldn't have expected a flat brush to be so cool, but it's so good at it.
I like my round brushes.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with a round brush.
Mm. But yeah, no. I do like round brushes. I think flat brushes for me just I don't use them very often. I usually use them to just lay down big things of washes. So for me, I don't use them as much as or utilize them as much.
Yeah,
So
there is definitely a technique to it. But I like the versatility of the flat brush. I can cut kind of like an edge, and then I can use one side as a point.
mm. By
Yeah.
the way, how'd the chocolate chip stuff work out?
All of those are gone now.
They were probably gone within the moments of like me leaving.
They really were. It was really funny.
How about the hamburger buns?
We haven't used those yet because we're going to have hamburgers tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
So they were really good. We've become fans of yours in this household.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
At least someone's my fan.
Yeah.
As I look over at my husband.
I feel like that there's dietary restrictions going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. He says I'm trying to fatten him up. He's
Yeah, I know. You were saying that about us.
If I tell him I'm his fan, then he'll think he's doing a great job and I'll get lazy. So I gotta keep on.
Yes, you're supportive,
Mm-hmm.
which is totally fine. You know. But you also feel like, he's fattening us up for the kill.
Yes. Which reminds me, I have cookies now.
This sounds like a thing.
An actual thing for trying to get you guys all
Fattened up for the kill?
fattened up for the kill.
Exactly.
Hmm. Yeah. You know, when I started this, I didn't think I would have to do tile, but I think I'm going to have to do tile.
Oh, yeah. And about a good time for me to run out of paint over here is about the time when I'm going to change colors.
Anyone has any questions for Guy or for me, you can go ahead and ask them.
Yep, you can just post it in the thread where this video is, and we will answer them. Especially questions about, like, how do you watercolor? Because that's more Pepper's thing than me. I'm brand new to this watercolor thing. This is still experimental. I haven't seen Ghost Hand in a couple of days. Hope he's okay.
I hope I didn't scare anyone off.
You totally did. I have no idea why. But
Aww.
I don't know how you would scare people away, but
With my sunny disposition.
right? Okay, I'm going to take some of this Davies gray, which I think is really Payne's gray. But it will be someday Davies gray.
Davies Gray is most likely Payne's Gray, but just renamed. Usually like some type of blue mixed with a brown.
Yep.
There we go. I should just make a whole theme palette of nothing but of different types of gray, and instead of Davies Gray, I'll do Davy Jones Locker Gray.
There you go.
Messages from Bill that people can't hear. If you're just joining, the reason why I'm not doing anything with watercolor today is because
You are on deadline.
I am on deadline and I'm actually behind deadline. And yeah, I was supposed to have all this done last week on Friday. But all I managed to get done were all the flats.
Yep. And if you're just joining us, I have a script, which is an amazing thing.
After not having one for how long?
Yeah. A long time. Okie dokie. Gray pieces of the ship there. I like it. It looks good. Now we need red. I have this really, really thin brush, which I can use for things, not that one, this one, things like pennants and stuff like that.
My hair is getting very floofy today.
Having a poofy hair day.
Yeah. So during this time of me doing this wrap up of this comic that I've been working on, I decided to watch some Scooby-Doo episodes.
Right?
And I did something that I probably shouldn't have. I decided to turn on Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo.
Okay.
Scrappy's not a bad character. I think just an ill-advised character. I never really liked Scrappy a whole lot.
I remember Scrappy a lot more from like the 80s era.
Well, that's when he was born, so anyway, it got me thinking, like, why would Scooby's sister send Scrappy to Scooby-Doo to take care of him?
Yeah,
And then I realized something.
barely can take care of himself.
Yeah, then I realized something. Scrappy is a lot. He's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
And yeah. Because in Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, you have the misadventures of Scrappy-Doo before he got to Scooby-Doo.
Uh-huh.
And basically it goes into Scrappy's other uncle, Yabba-Doo. But they never really clearly establish why Yabba-Doo is his uncle. When Yabba-Doo looks like he's a sheriff-type character, braver than Scooby-Doo, but looks like a shaggy, very hairy version of a Great Dane that's slightly smaller than Scooby-Doo.
I agree.
And then I got to thinking, what if Scrappy-Doo is always small because it's not that he's a puppy, it's the fact that he's a fully grown dog. His father is not a Great Dane. Just saying, folks. Quite possible.
Yeah. I agree.
He inherited his
I like the
father's...
fact that we're talking about the potential inner workings of Scooby-Doo versus Scrappy-Doo.
Well, I mean, it's all about storytelling, right? We
Sure.
talk about storytelling and stuff like this on the show, and
I
it's
always talk about storytelling. I'm just, you never think about Saturday morning cartoons as being a particularly deep subject, but there really is thinking behind it.
oh yeah. It's I mean, I know in the very first live-action movie of Scooby-Doo, they have Velma basically state that Scrappy had a glandular problem. That's why he never grew up. But also in that one, there's other things wrong with that movie. I mean, yeah, to understand Freddie Prinze Jr. and Michelle Gellar, Linda Cardellini, and Matthew Illard playing the gang itself, there were some comedic moments. I think the best performance I've ever seen of Matthew Illard was him as Shaggy. So,
While I wait for the card collector back there to dry. Was it you that thought that I said card collector, or was it my son?
me.
Yeah. I've decided that's my new phrase for that particular aspect of the vehicle. I will darken my space. Darkening my space.
So, any plans coming up for Father's Day for you?
In theory, my friends are getting together and doing the Father's Day brunch, which we have done in the past, which is a thing where we just gather the dads in the group and we all go out and have lunch. Back in the day, it used to be a share, any important insights on raising children, but now all of our children are so diverse and different now that advice on one child doesn't fit in the others anymore. There once was a time where it's like, oh, have you discovered this new brand of diapers? It's really cool. And, but all of our kids are out of diapers now, so it's not really a thing that we have to concern ourselves with.
Gotcha. Well, my niece was born recently. My younger sister had her daughter. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, there you go. That's a congratulations moment.
Yeah. Yay! Nope. 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 Nope.
There we go.
It's not supposed to work that way. There we go.
Oh, do. This is a nice blue as well. One of the blues we picked up from Gyrie's.
Which one?
I don't know. We've named it something different up here because it's taking the composed blue spot.
Oh,
Oh,
you
no,
actually
actually, it
got
is
the compost blue.
It is actually composed blue because we picked up composed blue.
Yeah.
So it's a nice, rich blue.
I actually picked up. I went back and I found. I need to find out if we can record in another store for a Watercolor Wednesday. Menigers,
Okay.
because they have watercolors that are a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Everyone says that Menigers are here in Denver is like so expensive, but quite honestly, I'm finding it to be the opposite.
Well, I think part of it is that Meinigers is the go-to spot for every artist in Denver. And so even the high-level, highfalutin pros, Good morning, Donald. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
We are painting starships this morning on my side. Pepper is on deadline, so he can't paint for a while until he finishes his deadline work.
When you say it like that, it sounds like you're being punished.
Yeah, you are. Can't do watercolors. Tell you straighten up and fly right.
You've been talking to my husband too much. I don't know if my husband agrees with that comment. He just said, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
And this compost blue is nice. It's smooth. It lays down a very smooth color. I can see a real attraction to these Holbeins, especially since I just went from my red, which was the original kind of junk paints that I got originally from my dad. Which, not to knock my dad, but my dad is a draftsman. So that was what he did. So he doesn't know watercolors.
Your watercolors that you got from him, though, are also about 20 years old. So,
They are, in fact, 20 years old. He got them before I went to Japan. He got them for me. The story on that one, I think I have told many times, so I don't need to tell it. But yes, you're right. So the age of those may also be playing some factor involved here. These Holbeins are laying down really nice. Very nice and smooth.
Holbein is a good company. A lot of people don't like them because they're not. A lot of American artists don't like them because they're not an American or originated brand. So some people don't like them. However, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not necessarily picky when it comes to stuff like that. I mean, in general.
Well, I stopped because I was reading Donald's
I know.
role-playing character that basically keeps speaking into a speaker and a microphone and refusing to speak without it. Honestly, I'm actually kind of like I'm drawing a comic where a kid does that.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds funny.
Yeah. A kid
I would
does
enjoy
that because he's basically like he has the recorder like with him nonstop throughout the story, and he has a microphone and everything in his pocket. He does talk without it though, so like I don't like when he's alone he talks with it. So I guess that's a major difference.
Donald has a unique idea.
Yeah.
Okay, because I like Donald's idea. That sounds good. So, okay, I put in the space, and I put in the paint on the Daedalus class. Try to take some of this water away.
No, not my water. Where's George?
Yeah, George probably. He's so into the water. Goofy cat. Yeah, see, that pink doesn't look that like offensive up here. It looks great, actually.
So if you use their method of making the paint, it's a lot brighter.
I like the way you did it because it's a. That was the one color in this palette that I was like, when the hell am I going to use that? It was the one color I wasn't sure about.
Well, opera in general, by the way, the paint by Holbein, their opera pink is not 100% like kind of. It's not a color that you want to use often,
Right.
for multiple reasons. The tinting strength is good, but what it boils down to is if you leave the picture in UV light, it will like basically go. It's one of the first colors to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so its strength in that comparison is not the greatest, but everything else is pretty good.
Yeah. I had to move this thing. It's in the way. There we go. Sorry about all that noise.
No, you're not.
I'm not. I like this. All right. Let's talk about this plant.
Let's talk turkey.
Let's talk about
Why is it so juicy on Thanksgiving?
right. It's an important question to ask.
Why did whoever created the turkey species and chicken species make them so delicious?
A lot of that wine.
Why, if you combine them with bacon, does it even taste more delicious?
You know, that's true. Just saying.
Why do you have to wrap things in bacon to make them taste delicious?
These are our ponderables here.
I'm getting silly.
Hey, Guy,
Yeah.
Messages from Bill.
you remember that comment I said, God forbid that if we're ever attacked by aliens, for the aliens' sake, that we don't find out that they're delicious?
Right.
They really need to make a Lower Decks episode where they have to protect a species that's considered delicious. And then
You know,
what's her
it's
name
true. They do.
tries to get one of them and taste them or something.
Yeah, apparently tribbles are very tasty. They're like scallops. The horrified look on Captain Lucero's face was my favorite thing ever from that episode. She's like, wait, what? Captain Lucero is my new favorite captain. I'm just saying, because she's Captain Battle Angel.
Mm-hmm. Has Lower Decks started again or no?
It will start again August 12th. Season 2. I am all about this one.
You know what I'm actually looking forward to? It's coming out this Friday on Disney Plus, if you guys have it. Luca.
Luca?
Luca. Lucca.
Oh. What is
It's
it?
a Disney movie that takes place in Italy, based off of Italian folklore.
Oh, it's animated.
Yeah, it's an animated Pixar Disney movie.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. I believe it comes out on the 18th.
Pixar, and I'm in.
Well, I believe it comes out on the 18th, which I think is either Thursday or Friday.
Yeah,
Friday.
I actually was
Friday.
just saying to my wife yesterday that I'm like, somehow I've gotten behind on my Pixar flicks, and I find that to be, somewhat offensive in my, own world. Like, I have not seen Soul yet,
Mm.
and I want to see Soul really bad.
Oh, pretty good. I won't ruin it, but I will say I wanted them to end it differently. And then once you watch it, let me know, and then I'll give you the ending I would prefer.
Interesting. Okay.
What are we talking about?
I'm curious what I'm curious how that will roll out. I mean, we just watched Raya and the Last Dragon, and I geeked out about the fur on the dragon the entire time.
Well, I'm going to answer Donald's comment.
You're going to talk to the you're going to talk to the people here?
I'm going to talk to the people here. And I'm just going to let you know that Peacock is kind of gamey.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
They do not taste as good as they look.
It's a shame.
And please don't ask on how I found out that I was eating Peacock.
Probably the same way when I found out that I was eating whale.
What?
Japan. I probably ate horse, but I didn't know it.
Well, I mean, I've had people tell me that if you go over to Thailand, get anything that says chicken from the street vendors.
Uh-huh. It's probably not chicken.
Because at least you know it's a bird.
Yeah.
And that was someone from Thailand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's...
I want to specify, someone from Thailand told me this. It's not an American.
One of those things. We actually, my friends and I over in Japan, had discussions about Americans and their problems with eating horse. And it was interesting because I got to examine it. I never really thought of it before, but horses are a part of our culture and have been for a very long time. And so we as a country have sort of developed a problem eating horse, which is interesting because I just assumed it was bad, you know. But when we talked about it,
yeah,
I realized that it's part of our culture to not eat horse.
Well, and I'm just going to respond to Donald at this point about the speaking of eating horses. Yes, I think a young superhero with a weird superpower would definitely have a peacock as a sidekick.
We're just saying.
I think that if I had to give a superpower to a small child, and the peacock was like the sidekick, I think it would have to be a very showy, flashy, like jazz hand worthy type superpower. I think that's what I would go with.
That's kind of cool. I mean, the idea they'd be like jazz hands. I like the idea of a jazz hands peacock.
Like the superpower can't work unless he uses the jazz hands.
Right.
That's what I mean by that comment.
I also subscribe on Reddit to r/real-life-doodles, which is where people take video of things and then add animated hands or animated arms or animated eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I saw this peacock with the animated eyes and the animated arms going jazz hands as the frill comes up and open. Now I kind of feel like I have to go make that. It's like an obscure animation thing, and I love it. I just love that these people are just randomly making like videos. Some of the ones that I really liked were like somebody had demolished cooling towers from a nuclear power plant, and so somebody drew
eyes and a mouth and hands on it. So as it's falling, it's like, oh no! On these cooling towers. I'm easily entertained.
You know, when I was studying for my master's degree, I found out that those cooling towers have like a bunch of filters and everything on them.
Yeah.
And I found out like when you hear of a nuclear power plant actually like decommissioning one of the cooling towers and having to implode it, the main reason why they have to implode it or basically take it down that way is not for the reason any other than the fact that they just can't clean the filters anymore.
Yeah.
The filters basically that I'm talking about are the ones that basically make sure that the steam coming out of it is nothing but H2O.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Oh. Yay! I feel like going another one bites the dust with that.
I am adding cool details to my planet, making my planet all planety. It's actually kind of fun. When I'm using that yellow gray
Mm-hmm.
that we picked up, that all of the binder came loose on it, and so even now the binder is still wet a little bit in here. So this is good because I'm actually kind of mixing it up and messing it up in there a little bit so that it's less screwed up and
Gotcha.
loose inside the pan.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's how it would work.
Yeah, that's on how it would work, Donald. Like that's literally on how it would probably work.
There we go. Oh, I like this dust ball. I don't even know what it is, but it's dusty. It's like probably methane seas, right? Whatever is green, it's probably like a methane ocean on this planet. With these little islands. This probably stinks.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
See, this is something that they never do in Star Trek, and they should, but they won't. They'll never do it. But like
have them all beam down to a methane planet and go, wow, this place smells like farts, you know.
I mean, would they do it? I don't know.
They might do it in lower
Should
decks.
they do it?
But
Possibly.
see, that's the thing that I've noticed. Even Orville won't do this. Like, that would be an interesting scientific observation. You know, a methane planet would smell like farts, you know. So it'd be something neat in science fiction land. They can, but it's like there's a rule: you can't make jokes about science.
Well, I think that you just can't make jokes about people who live on a planet that smells like farts. I think, yeah, Benjamin Sisko would probably say something like that, Donald.
You think so?
I,
Cisco would say that.
yeah, Sisko would
I
probably
smell
say
like
something
farts.
like that. Like,
And then he'd promptly chew on the scenery.
yeah.
I love Cisco. He is my.
Um,
I waver between Kirk and Cisco as my favorite captains, generally speaking, because Cisco and I love captains that chew on scenery.
Cisco's at the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
you don't have taste.
No. There is an episode where Cisco literally threatens to commit basically genocide on a planet because he wants to get the bad guy. I'm sorry.
Yep.
He turned
For
into
the
the bad guy
uniform.
at that moment.
For the uniform, you're right.
Yep.
I'm not even gonna complain. I mean, that's a completely valid argument against Cisco. He's definitely the kind of person who will even, or in a Pale Moonlight,
Mhm.
where he outright assassinates a Romulan senator.
Yep.
I mean,
Don't get me wrong. I love Deep Space Nine, but as far
Sure.
as captains goes, he's not at the top of my list.
yeah, and you know what? That's an absolutely valid argument. I actually kind of like him for that reason, because you're going. I mean, it can't always be Captain Kirk's out there,
Mhm.
you know, or Picard's for that matter.
Picard, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's somewhere along the line we've got to have those captains who are like, you know what, we got to get it done, and it's not going to be pretty, you know. And I kind of feel like that's sort of where we went with Cisco.
Hmm.
I don't
I
know.
wouldn't have minded if they did it like he was tortured by the decision, or it was really hard for him to make, or he was under the pressure to do it. But it seems very much like in anger he made the conscious decision that he was going to do this
Mm-hmm.
because he wanted to.
Yeah.
And that just rubbed me the wrong way.
Although I actually felt like, if you're talking about for the uniform, in that instance I felt like he was doing it in anger to make Eddington believe he was upset and angry and off balance, and the whole point was he was out chess playing Eddington.
I kind of
I
felt
don't
like maybe that was the direction they were going, but the follow-up scenes to that make it feel like, no, he was willing to.
Right, like when Dax is talking to him later,
Yeah.
he doesn't say, I'm torn up about that whole thing. He says, I meant to do it, and you're kind of like, well, no, wait a minute, because I get that you were trying to out chess match Eddington. And that's one of the reasons why For the Uniform is one of my favorite episodes as well. For that very reason, he's chess matching with Eddington, and that's such a great thing. That, and I love the Navy call stuff, because Eddington took down the Defiant, so the Defiant doesn't have any of its computer systems running, and so they had Nog standing there. So I had 1/4 impulse, and I had 1/4 impulse. Cut to the engine room. Intermatrix up 30%. Bring the warp coils to 14 millicochrans. It was like all the chatter was so cool. And I was like, oh, I love that. I just love hearing them try to make the Defiant work, by like just literally like dragging it out. It was so cool. I watched that scene over and over and over. Just that scene. Just them getting out of Deep Space Nine. That's my favorite part of that episode. I admit openly I'm a geek on that one. But the Defiant's such a troublesome little ship anyway. It's kind of fun to see that. That's the other thing. The Defiant's not a perfect ship. Mean, it's aggressive, it's nasty, but it also breaks down, has problems. It's overpowered. Its engines are completely too much for the ship.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad that they kind of abandoned that as time went on. In the very beginning, that was such a rough ship for them to deal with. And so, I don't know. I have gone off what your topic was, Bill. Sorry.
Okay. The problem with Trekkies talking with one another.
All right, so now we are here, and my next thought process is, should I darken the space here, or do we think this blue is dark enough?
What are you going for? Realistic space?
No, I'm going for just a look. What do we think? Maybe I should put like a sort of a, I don't know. You know what? I'll put something in it. That's something fun.
You're putting a gibbon monkey in there?
I'll put a monkey in it. That's what we're going to do. I get all this yellow off of my brush, though.
That's one thing I never actually truly got with Star Trek. Is there's a whole bunch of different types of aliens that they supposedly have. Why don't they have one that looks like gibbon monkeys?
There's an entire episode about that. Not monkeys.
Oh, you mean the Origins episode?
Yep.
Where everyone finds out that they came from the same people?
Who look a lot like the founders. It works. I think it's clever when they do stuff like that. Because the real reason that everybody looks like somebody with bumpy foreheads is because Star Trek was created in an era before CGI, and you had to have actors. So, they all have to look like humans. So we make them look as different from humans as possible, and that means bumpy foreheads.
Well, it's kind of like in the 90s, there was an early internet, really early internet. There was a list that came out. This list was basically 100 rules of anime. Now, the list has grown.
Right.
Significantly has grown over the years. I think they're up to like 115 now or something because of newer animes, whatever, people deciding to add to the list, that sort of deal. And in that, like, what I found funny at the time, because, obviously I'm reading this when I'm in high school, because I'm not old.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scoff at that. No, I meant to scoff at that.
Oh, I said the early days of the internet while I was in school. So,
yeah,
that was high school for me.
I know.
You were probably in college.
I was past college.
This is the reason why I'm scoffing.
Well, we've established quite some time that you are older than I am. So
Yes. I'm just scoffing. That's
trying
all.
not to offend you, guy. Jeez,
I'm just scoffing over here. That's it. That's all.
scoffing or basically going, oh, youngin.
Right? I think that's more. There's definitely more youngin going on in here.
It's talking about the early and the internet and all that stuff, and he doesn't even know.
I remember a time before the internet. You know?
I remember a time before the internet too. I remember having to come home before the lights turned on on the street.
Right?
Yeah, bear race captain they would hibernate easily too. I can see that.
Damn it.
Captain Gurr is asleep again.
It's approaching his hibernation time. I don't understand why his second wasn't in charge. Because his second is also of his own race. What?
They were both hibernating.
Captain Gruff, Lieutenant Captain
First Officer
Gruff.
Gruff and Captain
First
Gurr
Officer-
are both asleep. They did actually have the denobulans be that way, which I thought was kind of cool. They didn't sleep most of the time, but then all of a sudden they had to sleep for like 4 days
Yeah,
straight or something ridiculous. So, of course, that was when they had the big medical issues that they needed to deal with, where they needed Dr. Phlox, and he was asleep.
yeah.
All right. So, yeah. Hey. There we go. I like the purple over here. I'm wondering how dark that's going to end up when it dries. It looks pretty dramatic right now, but it will probably lighten up as it dries. So, now I will look in my box of stuff. See if I can't find you. Right?
Hmm.
Now we start the fun stuff. Uh-oh, somebody's having problems.
Yeah. It's kind of gross to think about, but honestly, after seeing the fish races, I can totally see them killing each other and actually eating one another, Donald.
We're just saying.
No, that's not saying. I mean, it's Star Wars universe, not Star Trek, so
Yep.
totally see it happening.
All right. The fun is about to begin.
As she sat there and said,
All right. Yeah, they did. I love cheap toothbrushes for this very reason. We're about to get wild and woolly. It's about to get ugly over here. Okay, here's where I do. My toothbrush didn't work like I wanted it to. I'm aggravated, somewhat disappointed.
Very sorry to hear.
Yeah, we'll get there. Instead, I just tapped my normal brush. Use the normal brush way. It's so horrible.
I thought the Loki is a TV. It's a series. It's not a movie.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right.
Is it a movie? I guess I know a bunch of like artists on Instagram are basically commenting about the whole
Gender fluidness,
gendered fluidness type deal to the character.
fluidity.
Which, I mean, I don't quite understand why people didn't realize this. If you actually look into any of the folklore that Loki, the god, is
I was
based
gonna
off
say.
of, like, he's gender fluid, pansexual in the mythology.
Yep, he's been that way forever.
I mean, he's birthed children and he's fathered children.
Yep. All is true. All right. That was entertainment and fun. worried about you. Okay, I'm not worried about you now. Yep, I spoke too soon here. I'm almost out on this thing. This is my white marker. I think it's out of ink almost. This may be the last run for this marker. It's a shame, but it's all right. Now we can pull this off.
Oh, well, I'm the Olympia ones, by the way, Donald. Like, I just want to point out that people are starting to highlight the fact that there's actually a god in the Olympian ones, where basically we got the original term hermaphrodite from, and it's actually one of Aphrodite's sons that literally took the wish and granted of a naiad when he was bathing. So she jumped on him, and her one desired wish was literally so that the two of them could become one. And since the gods were literal, yeah,
Gods suck. They always have.
yeah.
Coming
It's
up
like
with
probably I swear I when I hear that legend like every single time, I swear that's basically why in storytelling for so long it seems like there's like a victimization of intersex people, or even just the excuse to basically not give certain types of people like good stories.
agency.
Yes.
It's always about agency. It's not bad. I don't think you can see the stars on the screen though. Gods of spaceships, gods of lost starships, gods of exploration. Aw, that'd be fun. It'd be almost uh, like characters in some kind of Star Wars like world where it's got just a little bit of a fantasy feel, you know. That'd be awesome. All right. I want to make a fix though. It is bothering me greatly.
Would they be the god of changing the name of the ship or changing the luck of the ship by the name?
God of changing ship names. We can't change the name of the ship, but it's called the Dumb Stupid Ship. Yeah, but the God didn't bless us with a new name.
Okay.
That'd be so much fun. Come on, this is great. I love this plan.
Then let it be for one of your races in Bellatrix Rising.
Right? You know what? Actually, I could do that. I could have somebody who...
You know, what would be interesting is if you had a storyline where they discovered a planet that was spacefaring, but they never actually met anyone from that planet.
Yeah.
And then when they go down to the planet, they find out that it's a ghost planet.
There you go.
And all of their deities look like they were basically ones that they would worship because they traveled in space. So, and then the only record that you have of everyone is like literally, like it is like a hologram, basically explaining the history of why no one's there anymore.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'm moving back over while I let this dry. Oh.
The dysfunctional.
I think that turned out really nice.
I'll
show you. I'll show you what that looked like a little later on. But I feel like that turned out really nice, and I have now paint all over my hands.
Well, you
Those
did
things I'll
something
mess
right.
with.
You have paint all over your hands.
Dysfunction Junction. The
Yeah.
ship's name is the Dysfunction Junction. We've got to change its name. No, we can't.
Yeah.
What was it I was watching?
Don't let us.
I was watching something. I was watching something the other day, and now I can't think of what it was, but they named the ship something, and they were like, "This, we can't name the ship this," and it got stuck. And so the ship's name is something ridiculous and silly because was it a book I read? No. I've been garbling so much stuff recently. Things are just kind of screwed up in my head and I can't remember all the things anymore. So, but yeah, I'm thinking about it because it's exactly what it sounds like, was that the character's like, pick a name for the ship. And somebody's like, yeah, we won't call the ship something stupid like, P-Whacker or something like that. Oh, that's the name of the ship. What? No, it's the heat. Yep.
So you have the ship called the Peen Whacker. Got it.
Yep. It just seems like
that sounds kind of dirty, or Lorena Bobbity.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah.
Either way, not good.
My hair is very floofy today.
Yeah, your hair is totally floofy.
Like, yeah.
It's already 34 degrees Celsius out there. Holy crap.
You know, when you say it like that, it doesn't seem very bad. But then
I
I
know.
look over at my Fahrenheit thing, and it's like, oh, 90.
34 is not a. I am usually gone at 30. 30 is my line. Above 30, no, no, mm-mm. No. And the fact that we've been pushing 40 degrees Celsius is just stupid. I don't even know how to handle that. 40 degrees is 105.
So normally, what's been going on is me and Bill go on walks later in the day, and
And you're not
we've been
now.
doing that. And yesterday, Bill's like, "I'm not going outside.
Yeah.
It's 100 degrees out."
There comes a point where it's like, no, I am not doing this. This is not happening. You can't pay me.
Yeah.
And that's generally where I am. So
So while I was talking to you, I got a page and a half done of shadows.
nice.
So, well, not shadows. I basically completed a full page, finished that one, and then halfway through, I just have to finish laying the shadows.
I don't think we've told Donald, hey, Donald, look, it's an actual Bellatrix Rising script. And I'm breaking it right now, which is really cool. We'll have comic pages actually being made soon.
Well,
So
I
that's
mean,
exciting.
into much of the chagrin, my nephew, when he was into Toy Story, actually did enjoy having the fact that he had diapers or basically pull-ups with Woody on them.
Fair.
And so he basically said, I got Woody when he put one on. So there you go.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
I actually had to make a rule in my inbox now for Photoshop
With your inmates?
with my ending in Photoshop
Uh-huh.
because people they Adobe made a change to Photoshop that's odious, and I posted and said, hey, this is odious, right? And then since then I get about 100 posts a day of people posting on my post saying that it's odious. And it's like, so, and of course I get an email for each one of them. So it's just rest in peace, my inbox, you know, because it's just a flood of. Clearly, I thought the last change that they made was bad. This one apparently has made even more people upset. Previously, they took the line tool out and replaced it with a pen tool. So instead of making a line, you made a pen, and then you had to go in and put a stroke on the line that you made, and you had to establish how much of a stroke it was, and there was like 12 steps to making one line, and there were no arrows. And a lot of people use Photoshop to do quick arrowheads. You know, you put an arrowhead on the end of your line, you say this and this and this, and you know, and that's how they can point to things on their drawings. And they took all of that out and put in this bizarre sort of thing going on, and that was bad. They replaced it, they put it back in, but they didn't put it all back in. It still doesn't have arrowheads. But at least what I used the line tool for in Photoshop when I was doing comics was just cleaning up a corner. I just do line like that real quick to clean up an edge or a corner. And so having to stroke and having it make a new line or a new layer and all of that crap that it was doing, then have to compress all the layers, rasterize all of them, compress them, and all that stuff was making it to the point where it was like, I'm not using Photoshop anymore for drawings, which was great because it forced me to go over to Clip Studio Paint, which is what I did. And this new thing that they've done is now you can only save as Photoshop or TIFF. if you want to save it as a JPEG, you have to go into the Save As dialog and then click the button that says Save As Copy. And then that'll bring up a new dialog box, which then will change the name of your document to whatever copy dot whatever. Then you can save it as a JPEG or a PNG or anything like that. So now instead of just what I usually do,
there's unfortunately, that's only if you are on up to 16-bit. If you are on 32-bit, you are not able to save to a JPEG, and it is freaking annoying.
is that because I don't know. I mean, my workflow is I'll do a piece of art, and then I used to bring it into Photoshop real quick to just make sure its colors were straight and the levels were straight, because that's still something that Photoshop does a whole lot better in Clip Studio Paint. But then I'd save the PSD, and then I would save as a JPEG so that I could put it out on social media. You know, it was like that was part of my workflow. And now I have to go through all these extra machinations to get these things out there to save. And that was just brutal. Luckily, Clip Studio Paint still does both of those. You just save as a PSD and then save as a JPEG, and Bob's your uncle. And so I just stopped going to Photoshop. So yet again, the last little things that I was using Photoshop for are getting wiped out now for Clip Studio Paint.
Yeah.
We are moving closer and closer and closer to not needing Creative Cloud anymore.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, the only reason, like right now, I have a reason to keep it, but at the same time, like I'm not sure. But also, I go back and forth with the same type of sentiments with my Facebook page. Like sometimes I just want to delete all of my Facebook.
Yep. I have that from time to time as well. Like I waffle. Should I keep Facebook? Especially since I'll get up in the morning and I'll get in there and somebody will have posted something completely stupid and I will have to reply to it. And then I'll spend an hour on that reply. And then I realize I didn't do my normal morning routine. You know, I don't have coffee. I'm not ready for my show. The lights aren't on, you know, and then I'm scrambling to do this. You're texting me going, are you going to do your show? Where are you? And I'm like, I'm stupidly arguing with somebody on Facebook. I shouldn't be doing that, you know.
Well, I mean, to be fair, sometimes arguments on Facebook do inspire some pretty interesting things. But, no, there's, by the way, I had to stop drawing and doing what I was doing because I was getting tired. And my arms started hurting.
We only have 10 minutes left.
Yeah. So, no, I think that right now it seems like everyone is fighting on Facebook. Just in general.
Well, and I'm trying to look at some of the top-down functions. It's actually giving me an insight. Yeah, Donald, that's not even remotely a question.
Yeah,
I was saying that to a buddy of mine last night who was arguing with me. I'm like, you know what? If I argue with you, I still respect you. That's the thing. I mean, if it gets to the point where I no longer argue with you, I've lost. The biggest problem that I've got is my mom was a debate champion, like forensic debate. She would travel the country and debate with people and debate topics. Yeah. And she had to take positions that she didn't agree with and debate them and stuff like that. So my mom was like killer in an argument. I'd get into an argument with my mom and it would just be brutal because she'd catch me on fallacies and she'd back me up, and she'd, get back 2 steps, try this again. This time, don't use a straw man fallacy on me. Don't use ad hominem, and stuff like that. So I'm actually really good at debate. And I hate when people get into debates with me and they fling fallacies all over the place. And I'm like, just get to your point. Oh, you don't have a point. That's the issue. And, you're appealing from emotion. You're, all of these logical fallacies. And I get frustrated with that. Mm. And in the case of the fellow I was chatting with last night, who is in Australia, so naturally we are arguing at midnight because that's the middle of the day for him, so he's good.
I've completely gotten off Facebook. I was
he still has
arguments from here or there, but temperaments since the beginning, actually even before that, like with the previous presidency, no need to name names, into COVID, like people have become angry and downright violent, even when like I propose questions and trying to engage in conversation about something, proposing an opposing view. It was just like hatred and violence, and so I'm just.
I don't blame you. I mean, there came a point where I was like becoming depressed.
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't good. But I mean, the fella I was arguing with last night is trying to give me an opposing view. He can't give me sources yet, but he's working on it. You know what? Cool. He's working his problems out there, and he'll come back to me at some point in time with data. But he would do that. He would say, well, this is happening. And I would say, okay, I have not heard that this is happening. Well, you're just not listening to the right news sources. Well, okay, now back up. Before you go there, back your statement up. What this is occurring? Where did you see this? Give me a source. Because that's part of the problem is that, they're 3 steps down on a logic thing, trying to argue this point down here, and this part back here has not been defended. And that's part of my whole thing. It's like, cats are evil, therefore they're trying to murder us. Therefore, last night when my cat was in my room, clearly he had a knife. It's like they're trying to defend the had a knife part. And I'm like, wait. Cats are evil. Start there. You know what I mean? I just make stuff up, by the way. That's not
my problem with
legitimately having with anybody.
With the thing is, like, I would post an article on something that I find was interesting. I read the entire article. I posted it. I didn't claim that I buy into the article 100%.
Sure.
I'm not advocating for the article. I just thought it was interesting. Maybe some other people would like to read. But all of a sudden, it becomes an argument, and they're talking about stuff like, did you even read it? And I was like, yes, but why do I have to prove that I read it?
Right.
And then they're asking me to cite sources about things that I am suggesting that could possibly be true. And I'm like, wait, why am I needing to prove a position now? Like,
and the biggest problem I'm having is ad hominem, right? That's one of the biggest problems I have. Bill posts an article that says that the Defiant is the best spaceship ever built. Guy says, you're just saying that because you have a beard. And it's like, no, wait a minute. That's ad hominem. It has nothing to do with your statement. It's like, and then they're like, I want you to defend your beard. And you're like, wait a minute. What does that have to do with the Defiant, or why the Defiant is the best ship in Star Trek? It's like
Cisco. That's what it has to do.
It's Cisco. Yeah. Well, he has a goatee, and that's not a beard, a goatee. There's a difference. And you
Are
beard
we sure
people.
He doesn't have a beard. I mean, we know his wife died, and he didn't really seem all that interested when he was in a relationship with a woman. I mean,
Cassidy Yates. Sorry.
who is his girlfriend on that show is now on the Orville. So
yes, Penny Johnson. She is like awesomeness. Concentrated molecular awesomeness.
Yeah.
I love Penny Johnson. She's one of my favorites. Sorry, Bill.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Nope.
Ad hominem.
I
TLDR,
deal
the
with
biggest
what
problem I
he's
have is
saying,
ad
and I
hominem.
deal with what you're saying all the time.
Yeah, but I mean,
so-
what Bill's talking about is exactly that. That's the ad hominem problem, right? Bill posts an article, and it doesn't matter whether Bill agrees with it or doesn't agree with it. I read the article, decide he's liberal/conservative. It doesn't matter which one. And then yell at him for socialism/racism. It doesn't matter which one. And that's ad hominem. It's attacking the person. It's to the person. That's what it literally means. And as a debate point, you can't use that in forensic debate. It's illegal. My mom would kill me on that one. You know, as soon as I went ad hominem, she's like, that's ad hominem. You can't do that. You know, and she would have me in a corner. And so I hate it when I get into an argument about this. And that's the first thing they do. Well, you're just saying that because you're a liberal, or you just say that because you're a conservative. It's like, that's ad hominem. You can't, that shouldn't have anything to do with what you posted.
And see, that's the thing is, I liked, and I didn't mind getting in heated conversations. I won't even say, arguments. Because I believe that having a debate or having a conversation with someone leads to learning on both sides. You know, even if you leave the conversation and you still both sides believe what they believe, there was still an exchange of ideas and there was something to be learned.
Sure.
But it got to the point where I was literally posting stuff and having to qualify in the post, I am posting this because I found it interesting. I'm not going to buy it. And I was literally putting a disclaimer in front of my
you had to put a disclaimer in front of it.
This doesn't feel like, I was feeling and having physical manifestations. I was like, you know what? This isn't healthy for me anymore. And I don't feel I'm getting the learning that you get from having a debate anymore. So
it's funny, Donald, you'd make that comment that people forget that there are moderates. I actually get yelled at by people who are politically aligned the same way as I'm politically aligned because I was trying to see the other side. And they actually have, like, do you understand that by saying that you are looking at the other side, you are de facto agreeing with it and therefore causing the same, it's like, you guys have gone bonked. It's like you guys have gone off the edge. All I'm trying to do is try to find a middle ground between this, and you're yelling at me for literally not joining the absolute edge of these things. And I'm like, that's peer pressure. You're peer pressuring people to polarize. And that's dangerous. That's what's happening is we're peer pressuring each other to polarize. And that's ridiculous. Anyway, I feel for you, man.
Yeah, I'd rather be open-minded.
Right? Me too.
I don't agree with you, but I'd be happy to understand why you agree with your position because I don't think I'm right all the time. I just hold positions. They're not permanent.
Right. Well, but here again, like you and I, as Trekkies, you do not agree with my choice of captain. That's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? I will tell you why I like Cisco, and I agree with your points about why Cisco sucks in that same epic manner. I just didn't find that to me to be as offensive as you found it to be. Or I guess not offensive, but as much of a showstopper, I guess I should say.
It was a turnoff for the character.
Yeah.
As character developments go, that one turned.
Right. Totally acceptable. I don't have a problem with that. And you're not alone on that one. I've heard that argument many times.
Yeah, and I didn't like watching it after that either. So
no,
it wasn't that hard.
Of course not. I didn't like Lorca as a captain at all. And so it was like, shrug. I haven't quite warmed up to Captain Freeman on Lower Decks. So, I mean, it's like there are captains out there that are like, Yeah. I absolutely love Mariner, though. But, yeah, Captain Freeman, I'm not sure. I'm like, I feel like she's just a little too caricature.
Yeah.
Lower Decks is a caricature. I get that. But
I kind of forgive it under that thing of just they're all characters.
It's like Shax. I had a problem with Shax for the same reason, because he's just a little too much, let's blow them up. And you're like, it's like, I've targeted their warp core. It was like, it's like, I don't know. It felt like he was a little too much, but it's all right. I get there, it works. So.
I mean, if you want to say radishes are offensive to you, that's all by means. That's great for you. Just means more deliciousness for me.
I think that's just
Yeah. I don't know,
Again,
man.
more
He's
deliciousness
making a radish
for me.
decision.
fair.
Making jokes. It was good chatting with you today, Bill. I know that you and I often kind of spar a little bit over the fence there, and I just wanted you to know that I appreciate talking to you. So cool. Well, I guess it's 11, so we probably ought to go to lunch and eat or something. It's a thing.
Food? What is this notion of food?
I know, right? I didn't have breakfast this morning because I was arguing on Facebook. This is exactly what I was talking about. I failed to have breakfast. I did get in the shower, which typically speaking is, a thing. Anyway.
Well, I guess that's a plus.
A plus, because otherwise I'm stinky. I don't like being stinky. I hate hot weather because then I get stinky really quick, and I hate that. You know what, Donald? We enjoy your company too. And actually, the thing is, Trekkies can be very contentious. And so it's nice to be able to talk things out and be able to kind of discuss it and stuff. So tomorrow, I might, if we're lucky, I might be sketching out pages. I have a special sketchbook that I bought at Barnes & Noble, and I was so excited to find it. It is designed for manga layout. So the first 50 pages are the small layout pages. There's 4 of them to a page. And then the next 50 pages are full-size pages for layups, complete layups, stuff like that. So I've been itching to get cracking on that one for a while. So I'm going to probably be back over there at the table, and we'll be sketching on actual layups tomorrow. So that'd be good. So stick with me, and I will see you all later. And thank you for joining me today, Pepper. Sorry you couldn't get the painting. That's kind of a bummer.
It's fine. I actually did go in, and I went to one of the places I get color coordinations and stuff. Like, I just wanted to get some color coordinations down for some things. I have more to do. I feel like I was not entertaining enough today.
That's all right. You were good. We did exactly what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry one bit about it.
Yeah,
I was just thinking that's like the rule of the show. Everybody is welcome on the show unless you're a jerk, because we've kicked people off of Twitch for being intentionally jerky.
Yeah.
But everybody's welcome on the show. And sometimes the shows are super high energy and really funny, and sometimes they're laid back and cool and just watching us paint, which is today's show. We were very laid back. We were painting. It was cool.
And Donald, yes, you've given us a lot to talk about.
Yeah, you've given us all kinds of stuff to talk about. Well, and I actually I'm not kidding. I think that might not be a bad sub race that we find out about in Bellatrix Rising, is that there's a race out there that actually does have gods to starships.
Or a race of bears. And me and Bill have talked extensively about that, and I think I've talked to you about if humans evolved from bears.
Yep. They'd be pooping in the woods and knowing about it.
No, well, not just that. It would be more or less of if humans evolved from bears and we still hibernated, everything about our culture would be around our bedroom.
Have you watched soap operas?
I mean, yes, I have. I grew up. My father watches soap.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
every
mother watches
soap
soap.
opera revolves
like
around
my mom's
bedrooms.
favorite soap opera was Dark Shadows. You know, like
Revolves around bedrooms.
the bedroom. Yes.
We have really weird, long, engaged conversations about stuff. Like if we evolved from bears, like I bet there would be like this big celebratory eating thing where we all eat a bunch of fiber before we go and hibernate, so we don't have to go while we sleep, and all this stuff. And we just talk about this stuff. So
Episode 14.
Well,
Pepper is still asleep.
Yeah.
Episode 15. Pepper is still asleep.
But Bill is awake.
Right?
Episode
This
15,
time,
Pepper
Bill has
rolls
woken
over.
up.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
But also at the same time, like we have conversations like, okay, what would you do if Scooby-Doo wasn't rebooted, but they wanted to just continue the show, right? So I came up with, so what if there's a new group of kids, Fred and Daphne got together, they had a set of twins, a boy-girl set. The boy looks like Daphne, and the girl looks like Fred. So not body type. I mean, like, basically she has Fred's hair color, eye color, skin tone,
Sure.
and then the son has Daphne's look. So he has the green eyes, the red hair, her skin tone, that sort of deal. Velma has 2 adopted kids because she opted not to have a relationship with another human being. Shaggy got together with someone, had a single kid that's identical to him, but like just more of like what we'd consider the modern beatnik, I guess. So basically, if we're going into the fashion of Scooby-Doo, that would be the 90s grunge period.
Right.
And then and then Scooby-Doo's character would be replaced with obviously a prodigy of Scooby's lineage.
Yeah, bears are amazingly smart creatures, actually,
Yeah.
strangely enough. It's like everything.
Yeah.
You know, sharks are not as scary as we put them out to be, and
Well, actually, there's like fewer shark bites than people realize. Like,
yeah, more people get killed by cows than by sharks.
and I don't even want to know how you can get killed by a cow because
I
Like,
love
you really
somebody
have
had
to
made a
piss
comic
off a
about
cow.
this, and I think the comic was hysterical because it's 2 guys in the water, and they're like, one guy's like, "Oh, we're gonna get killed by sharks," and the other guy's like, "Dude, more people get killed by cows than by sharks." And he goes, "Oh, good, that's good." And then behind him, you see this cow come up out of the water with a knife. You know?
yeah, I know.
I'm like, okay, that's good. I like that.
Yeah,
Anyway, okay, but I really, honestly, I'm
yeah, I
leaving.
know.
The lights have already
Yeah,
changed
we both
color.
have to go.
I want to go get lunch, so
All right. Well, have fun. Go get
I
your
will
lunch.
see you all. I will see you. I don't know if you want to join me tomorrow whenever I'm doing comic breakdown, but you can.
I'm actually probably just going to stick with what I was doing.
You don't have
today.
to. It's totally non-pressure.
Well, I definitely
If so-
need to go.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what happens. Is blood smelling is the problem. So anyway, yeah, no, it's no pressure.
Okay.
You can join me or not if you wish. I'm just saying the door is open. Just click on the thingy. Anyway, I will talk to you then Friday if I don't talk to you tomorrow. And for everybody else, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye. Computer, good night.